Power accumulators. Let's talk a little bit about the power accumulators. I use this quite often during my lessons. I explain those accumulators to my students. I believe that gives them a little bit of better knowledge and a better understanding about the golf swing. The power accumulators are described in Homer Kelly's book, The Golfing Machine. I am not a golfing machine instructor, but in Stack and Tilt we use those accumulators pretty much, and I hope my explanation today is easy and simple for everybody to understand how they work, and I also hope I will not offend any golfing machine instructor with my explanation. We have 4 power accumulators. Let's start with the first one. The first power accumulator is the bending or loading of the right arm, loading and later unloading of the right arm. Some people explain that like if you have a stone and you want to glide it over the water, where you load your arm here and then you throw it. Okay, that would probably be a pretty easy way to understand how the first accumulator works. The first accumulator loads by shortening the distance from my right hand to the shoulder. When we address the ball, and the distance my right hand has to the shoulder, I am trying to shorten it. I'm trying to getting it closer to my right shoulder, and this is where I am loading my first accumulator. And obviously later when we move towards the ball, well, I'm trying to make that distance bigger again, till I reach more or less the initial position I had at P1. Every power accumulator has a pressure point. The pressure point for the first accumulator is my right hand pressing here against my thumb and against the club. Okay, this pressing against my club is the part which will help me to unload, or how I should unload my first accumulator towards the ball. Good. Let's come to the second accumulator. The second accumulator is well, let's call it wrist cocking, or the loading of the wrists. That will be the second accumulator. Our wrists can move in many ways. Not so many, but 6. We have a radial deviation, we have a ulnar deviation, we have extension, flexion, and we have pronation and supination. Okay. The loading of the second accumulator with the left hand would be a radial deviation. Loading, moving the club upwards. However, my right hand will not radial deviate, my right hand will extend. The pressure point for the second accumulator are those 3 fingers of the left hand and the higher part of the palm of the hand, where I hold my club here. And when I make pressure with those 3 fingers and press it against my hand, that would be the part which lifts up my club, which helps me to achieve that radial deviation. Okay, what we are looking for when we load the second accumulator. Loaded the second accumulator, while the arms or the hands are in the transition towards impacting the ball, that second accumulator will unload. Okay. Our third accumulator. The third accumulator is the part where the wrists are pronating and supinating. This would be the third power accumulator. Okay. The third power accumulator is basically there. Well, it is a huge power source, but it is also there to put my shaft in the plane. If I would not, if I would not load my third accumulator, my club would never get in the plane. Okay, so I need that third accumulator in order to put my club in the plane. This third accumulator has a pressure point. The pressure point is the index finger of the right hand. It is like a trigger. Okay, this is where I will hold or load my club. The third pressure point is also crucial because it will give us a lot of lag. It will give the club much more lag by holding it in that third pressure point. You will see in my videos, we talk many times about the third pressure point because I have many or too many students who actually load the club in the thumb, and the thumb is not the pressure point. And this comes mainly because they radial deviate me both hands. Both wrists are radial deviating, which leads to a pressure in the thumb. But to load properly the third accumulator, we must get pressure in that third pressure point here. The fourth accumulator. The fourth accumulator is our straight arm, our straight left arm, which orbits around our spine. I stay here straight. If we would play golf straight, we would not play in a tilted angle. That left arm would be orbiting around our spine like this. But in a tilted angle, it's exactly the same. It still orbits. It orbits around my spine. This would be the fourth accumulator. The fourth accumulator, like all the other three, also has a pressure point. The pressure point of the fourth accumulator would be somewhere here on the chest, meaning that when it is loaded, it will be pressing against my chest. Okay. Now the unloading of the fourth accumulator is actually not purely just moving my arm towards the ground. The unloading of the fourth accumulator comes way much more out of the shoulders, out of my back, where once it is loaded and everything starts moving to the left, and this is the part which will unload or catapult that force accumulator towards the ball and towards impact. Okay. What is crucial about the fourth accumulator is that it always should stay straight. Okay. My duty is to keep that left arm straight, and that left arm during the swing never collapse. Okay. It has to stay straight because it is part of my radius. And in order to control the low point of the ball, I should achieve that my radius is always the same. Okay. So I hope that with that little explanation, little introduction about the power accumulators, about the pressure points, in previous videos when I talk to my students and I tell them to load or unload a certain power accumulator a little bit more earlier, whatever, you have a little understanding what I mean. In my world, everything has a name, and I don't like, you will rarely see me touching my students or moving their clubs in a certain direction. I prefer to call things by their name. I want that they understand, for example, what those power accumulators are, and I like that they can achieve that by themselves. I don't believe that by moving my students' clubs in a certain way a couple of times, that will give them a better understanding about the golf swing. The understanding will be there when they understand those concepts, and when they are able to modify those concepts if needed. Thank you very much for watching. subscribe, and thank you.